Prosperity isn't just about revenue, it is definitely about alignment. Alignment with your purpose, your peace, your assignment that God has put on your life. And today's guest not only teaches this, she embodies it.
Johnson, Nicole Johnson, Nicole Johnson, Nicole Johnson, Nicole Johnson. Here we go.
And welcome to another episode of Prosperity Conversations. I am your host, the Nicole Johnson, and today we're talking about a version of prosperity that goes deeper than hustle, strategy, or what the world calls success. This is about wholeness. Y'all know that? Wholeness, okay? And how stepping out of the shadows into your divine assignment can change everything. Joining me today is a woman whose mission speaks straight to my heart. She is the creator of Serve, Share, Shine, a framework that helps others get visible and shine. And when it happened to her, when she wasn't showing up, she stayed behind the scenes supporting everyone else's success. Oh, I feel all of that in my spirit, y'all. But she was not fully owning her own. That season eventually led to burnout, misalignment, and the realization that she was hiding her own gift. You guys, welcome to the stage, Miss Turiya Hodge. Come on, Turiya. Hello, hello, hello. How are you, my dear?
I am doing wonderful. Wow. I just want to say thank you, first of all, for including me in being part of your prosperity conversations. I got excited and I really feel truly humbled and honored to be able to sit down and just share my little story on your platform. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so glad you're here, but it is far from a little story. Okay, let's be real about that. This is a big story because it took courage, clarity, and a full recommitment to your purpose to step out front and claim your own voice. And I know that that can be a stretch for us. And what I want to let our audience know is that today you teach purpose-driven women coaches how to do the exact same thing by clarifying their message, aligning their content, and building visibility systems that attract clients with authenticity and ease. Yes, all of the things. Yeah. As you can tell, I be doing my own thing around here. But listen, we are going to jump right in where we always start with our main question. What does prosperity mean to you?
Oh, wow. When you asked the question, it really made me sit and think about my journey. And one of the things that I got present to was being able to just redefine, success. So that's the first step, being able to let go of all of the things that we were taught, right? Of what success, should look like, and getting present, to what that means, for myself, on an individual basis. So when I think about prosperity, it's not just about the financial prosperity that we've been taught. It's being able to have the courage to step into your purpose. It's about being able to use your voice. And like I say all the time, stop hiding and being able to show up and shine. Okay. And then, ultimately, prosperity is just being able to live your life, truly, fully, being in alignment and, doing purposeful work.
I love that definition because society's definition overall is so different from what I would say is success and clearly what you say is success. And we had to have come to a point in our lives individually and as a collectively as a race, as a gender, as a people to say that's not the definition that I accept and redefining it. So you have spent years helping others get visible, right? But staying hidden yourself. So take me to that moment of burnout where you finally said it's time to come out front.
Oh my gosh. So where do I want to start with this? So I always like to share my backstory, and part of my backstory was I never considered myself like a natural entrepreneur. So when I say a natural entrepreneur, there are people out there who live, breathe from time they're younger, entrepreneurial spirit, and they just know that this is what they want to do.
Right.
That's not necessarily my story. I got into this space because of burnout. So I worked in my 9 to 5 and had an experience at one time where, my boss called me into his office and he said, "Hey, I'm listening to you. I'm being monitored, right? I'm listening to you. And what I hear is slurring in your speech. And so I know that you are not drinking on the job. Right. So I think something is wrong and you need to go, to the doctors. And of course, I went to the doctor, had a examination, everything. And the doctor said, "You are suffering from stress." And at that time, didn't know what stress actually meant. So fast forward to a year later, I stepped out of my corporate job and did not have a plan. And so once again, I know you're shaking your head because you talk about this with your women all the time, right? So I had heard them talk about this thing that's called freedom. And the only people who seem to have a lot of this freedom is this subset called entrepreneurs. So I said, well, let me go ahead and try that.
You
Right?
drank the Kool-Aid. You drank the Kool-Aid.
The Kool-Aid, purple flavor Kool-Aid, the grape one. And my first year, I had no clue what was going on. And so after my first year, I made a decision to go and intern with a marketing company, marketing and branding firm. And I had a wonderful time at that marketing and branding firm. And I supported, oh my gosh, hundreds of influential business owners and entrepreneurs. So I was actually the behind the scenes person. But one of the things that a lot of people didn't know is that I was deathly afraid of speaking.
Oh.
Yes. Right. And so that was my way of hiding. So I was that person who would rally around everybody else's brand and everybody else's stuff, like a digital cheerleader, and I would support you and I would encourage you on. But when it came to showing up for myself, that's when I hid. And I got present to that when I decided to, after about, I think I was with that company about 6, 7 years, and I decided to step out and launch my own brand.
Hold
And
up. Right there. So let me backtrack a little bit and get a timeline on this because that's just the way my brain is working. So it took you a year after you got a diagnosis or had a doctor's appointment.
yes,
It took you 1 year to decide to leave the 9 to 5 with no plan, but it took you almost 7 years, mind you, 7 marks completion. Took you 7 years to come out into your own.
yeah,
Y'all hear that?
yeah,
See how we leap with no plan, and then we spend a lot of time working to build something for someone else.
yeah.
Okay,
So,
all right,
so,
Turiya, go
so,
ahead, go ahead.
so a lot of lessons, right? But that was definitely the journey. And so as I stepped out into the space, of building my own business, I thought I had everything I needed. I knew the tools, I knew the systems, I've supported others with marketing strategies, campaigns, and everything. And in my mind, like, oh, I
I
got
can do this. Yes.
this. I know how to do this, right? And I got present very quickly that that's not how any of this works. Okay. And so I got confronted with a lot of things. And the biggest thing, like I said, was myself on the journey and looking at all of the parts where I hid. And so a big part of my story is that I didn't know what it really took, to show up fully. I never really understood or unpacked what vulnerability, is, and how to reframe how I looked at vulnerability. And I had to grow out of the place where, oh my gosh, my story, no, my story is not important. Nobody wants to hear that stuff. What people want is they want the meat and potatoes. That's what I heard all the time, like the meat and potatoes. So if you want the meat and potatoes, I'm going to stick to the meat and potatoes. I'm going to give you the training. I'm going to give you the tools. I'm going to give you the systems to be successful. And like I said, what I got present to is that that's not the recipe to build a brand. And so as I started to uncover those things for myself, I started to realize that that's where a lot of women hide as well. And so on this journey, it's all about being able to help women show up and shine and build a life and business that's aligned and also meaningful.
So when you talk to people, because what I've learned is that your systems don't matter.
Mhm.
Your brand colors, they don't matter. They matter to us. They don't matter to the people that are looking to you because they don't buy into the brand. They don't necessarily buy into the solution
Mhm.
until they buy into you.
Yes.
So, what did Turiya start to share that what were you sharing about your journey
Mhm.
that you knew was the hook that brought to help you start attracting the women that you wanted to help?
Oh, Nicole,
I
when
I struck a nerve right there, y'all. You actually called my name, Nico.
you know, I'm in the social media space.
Hmm.
And in the social media marketing space, it's you see a lot of perfection, and the perfection is the underpinning, of it. We have to be perfect. We have to look perfect. We have to sound perfect. We're showing up like we're doing all of the things.
Hmm.
Okay, because that's what we see and that's what we think it is. And that's what I thought as well. It broke for me when I started just saying, like, this stuff isn't working. I'm out here and I have challenges too. So
Hmm.
buying the programs, following the gurus. But you know what? That didn't quite work out the way that they said it would work out. I stumbled here. I failed here. I'm required to grow in this area. When I started to have those conversations, and I call it my wait not so fast moment. And so
Hmm.
that's the things that I share with my clients, especially. Wait a minute, not so fast. You saw this, you read this, you heard this, but not so fast.
Hmm.
And being vulnerable to say, like, oh, I stumbled here, this gave me a challenge, this I wasn't quite successful doing this, and let me share what my journey was in redefining this or looking at a different strategy on how it works. That's how my brand became magnetic. And like I said, vulnerability. Like, I didn't want people to know that I had challenges with stuff. I didn't want people to know that this didn't work.
Right.
How would people perceive me if I didn't have it all together? And then
And let me get right in that point because that is what we see on social media, on television, in our movies, and just everything that is coming at us on a daily basis. And I'm going to say this: social media didn't exist when I was a teenager. Okay, don't be trying to guess my age. That ain't none of y'all business. Pay attention. Stay focused. Okay, stay focused. Just know it wasn't there when I was growing up. Okay, and but TV was, and the images that were portrayed wasn't a lot of black models. There weren't plus size models, right? You didn't see a lot of images that looked like me. Okay, and that's because society was saying this is what we should look like if we wanted to be deemed successful.
Yeah.
This is what the facade was. And so, what I learned just from my own journey, because I too was in it for 7 years. So let's be clear. We're in alignment for 7 years of doing work to help other women for 7 years for free to accomplish a goal that I had already accomplished. And what I wanted to share, what I shared with them was that this was not easy. Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know and I hear a lot of what you just said. I didn't know that it was all of that in the background. Nobody ever told me, nobody showed me. And so a lot of women, we will connect when other women share their journeys and their failures because we're hiding. We're sitting in the background trying to be mom, be daughter, be wife, be the school driver, the homework doer, dinner, cook dinner, get the laundry done. Now, mind you, I ain't even saying nothing about going to work, going to church. If you have any type of social life, you might even want to find a place to go and get your hair and nails done. You might want to find a place to eat and sleep. That's a lot of hats that we wear, a lot of responsibilities, and I'm one person trying to hold it all together.
Yeah.
Okay. And so sharing and being able to help others pave the way has been the foundation for She Economy Hub.
Yeah.
That's my nonprofit, and we're in our current giving campaign as we are striving to help her find power in her prosperity. And that is why we come together and say, you don't have to fail alone,
Yeah.
and you don't have to keep making the same mistakes. And so I heard you say, Turiya, that when you started telling that part of your story, that is when you start to attract a different audience. Is that correct?
Yeah. And I'm going to share this. So, part of what I do in my work is that I get my clients really clear on who their divine client is. And
Mm-hmm.
I like to always share that there's a distinction. Okay. And when we talk about our divine clients, those are the people that we are purpose to serve. And the way that we become beacons or we become lights for those people is that we show up in our wholeness. We show up without the mask. We have experiences, we have lessons. I'm a firm believer that God put us all here for a reason. And the experiences that we have, first of all, is for us to be refined by them. So, on your journey, what is it that you're learning, how you're growing? And then, how do you take those lessons and then you help others with them? So you or with it. Okay. So you can't do that if you are hiding. You can't do that if you're not willing to show up authentically and purposely. And so it's like when you show up that way, what happens is that your people start to recognize themselves in you and they go, wow, that's my person. Because you know what, Nicole, I know you could identify with this. You're not the only woman out there who is helping other women realize financial freedom.
Right.
But you know what? It's Nicole's story because I remember the first time I heard you share your story with me and your experience. I was just like, oh my gosh, wow. Okay, you have a unique style. And let me tell you, your style is no holds barred. I'm not reserving punches. Toes are going to be stepped on, and that's all right.
And we will. And we
And
will.
all right. But that's how you show up. And so, what I know, in your wholeness, your people will connect with you 100%. You might not be for everybody, but guess what? That is absolutely okay.
It is.
So
It
that's
is.
what I help other women realize too. So it's like gone through, you're going through your journey, your experiences, you know, it's for a reason. It's refining you, and then you get to take that and then help other people as well, serve others.
I love that, Turiya, because too many times, especially in the wealth industry, right? People want to give the story that you can be wealthy. You want to start them up here though.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do that. Not if they're going to be successful, right? Because yes, we can. We all have the capability. But what do? You
Mm-hmm.
don't start, you don't build the house. It used to get on my nerves to hear people say, I'm gonna build my house from the ground up. So what? Other people gonna put the roof on first? I mean, what we talking about? Everybody's house is built from where? The ground up. When you try putting a roof on first when you build a house,
I never thought about it that way.
let me know how that work out. Girl, I told my aunt that, she was like, girl, we gonna have a house built up. We gonna have a house built from the ground up. And she was my real snooty aunt, right? I said, so what? Poor folks put theirs on the roof on first. She said, oh, you get on my nerves. I said, that's what she said about it. Everybody house start. We all start from the same place. Birth, right? But some of us, the foundation was laid for us, and some of us, we had to build the foundation.
Yeah.
And it looks different because if somebody's giving me a foundation, that means the resources are already there. But if I got to build it, that means I got to get the resources. And that puts me behind the 8 ball. Yeah. So if I want to talk to them about being wealthy, I got to start down here at their foundation. And for some of them, I have to help them redefine, just like you said, they got to redefine that foundation because they got to unlearn a lot of things.
Yeah.
No.
And that's what the journey is all about.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is. So I want to ask you, something else. When you start talking about alignment, because alignment is so critical. I did a speech not too long ago where I talked about what my purpose was. Okay. And that I found my passion, I found my mission, but what did it turn into? Because even though all the accolades that I have from the journey through schooling and job and all of those things are great. They are my passion, my mission, but they weren't my assignment. And that's different. So when you talk about alignment, I see it different from activity.
Yeah.
We see a lot of women out here doing a lot of activity, right? Yeah. But it's not the alignment. How do you help your clients get into the alignment so that the people they're attracting fit in that alignment?
Yeah. So one of the things that when I go back and I take a look, so one of the first things that we do is we go ahead and we unpack your divine client. So that's the foundation for my work and the foundation of how I work. Like, who are your divine people, those people that you're purposed to serve? And it goes a little bit deeper than just a marketing conversation, because in marketing, target audience, demographics, psychographics, all of that stuff. I dig a little bit deeper, especially in the area of being able to, first of all, define your values. Okay. And it was one of the things, like I said, when I look at my journey starting out, I know I had values. Okay. But Were my values clear to me? And most important, were my values clear to others? And I got to a place where I got present, like, no. And so when you don't have clear values for yourself, you can't communicate those values, to others. Those values aren't guiding everything that you do in your life and in your business. That's where the misalignment comes in. And so being in alignment is, and I know there's other things, but being in alignment starts with first knowing what your values are. Do you have non negotiables? What are those non negotiables? Do you have those non negotiables written down, posted, you know, s- there so you could easily communicate to others what your desires are, and then also what are your non-negotiables? Do you know what your boundaries are, and are you able to communicate those boundaries? And then even when those boundaries get crossed, how do you handle that? Do you stay silent? Because be honest, like a lot of people I know, I hope I'm not the only one. This is part of my journey. When boundaries get crossed, I go inward, you
Oh,
know.
you are not
Thank
alone.
you. Right. And everything. And I had to learn, like, no, you have to stand up for yourself. You
Yeah.
have to communicate those boundaries. You got to hold the boundaries. And as I'm journeying and I'm practicing and I'm doing these things, because it is a practice, it's not like, oh, I got this, and then I don't have to revisit it. These things show up in different forms, different levels as you grow. Oh, I'm required to do this. And the more I put these things into practice, less and less burnout happens.
Yeah.
The more and more my life is fulfilled, and I'm working in joy, and I'm experiencing joy, and I'm walking in purpose. Okay. And so when we talk about alignment, that's what I had to get present to, because it's not about the hustle. I did a lot of hustling and a lot of more, thinking that that was the secret
Right.
to the success. But when I really got present to know, this is what success looks like for me. This is what truly lights me up. This
Hmm.
is how I see myself walking through the world. Then it stopped feeling heavy. So there was a point where it was just so heavy
Yes. Am
because
I go
because
ahead.
yeah,
Mhm.
no, just because I was out of alignment.
We're out of alignment. And that is something that someone near and dear to me says the clarity comes in doing.
Hmm.
And so the more that you implement your boundaries, the more that you write out what those non-negotiables are, the what does the Bible say? Write the vision and make it plain. And it goes on to say a few other words after this. So put all of that together.
Oh,
Make it crystal clear.
you
Make
know,
it crystal clear.
so I have to just pause here, because that is one of my absolute favorite verses
Girl,
in
come on, give it to him. Give me the
the
whole thing.
Bible.
Now. Come on, come on.
Yeah, because it's interesting, because it's stages, right?
Hmm.
So the first thing we have to learn is to first, what's the vision? Okay, so do you even know what the vision is?
Hmm.
Define the vision, because without the vision, you don't know where you're going. But they said, okay, now you got the vision, write the vision and make it plain. And so people get excited about writing the vision, and they make it plain, meaning they do vision exercises, they do
Hmm.
vision boards, which, all of that stuff is wonderful. But you see, the sweet spot for me is when they say, so those who read it may tarry with it. So when you take a look at that piece of scripture right there, that is the goalpost. Is like, are we the holder of the vision? What's our responsibility there? How well are we writing the vision and making it plain so
Mm-hmm.
others can see themselves inside of the vision, and they're able to pick up their pieces and have ownership around their part in the vision to help the vision move forward. So thank you for bringing that piece up, because that's like I said, one of my absolute favorites.
When I started, so I used to do vision boards every year, and I would see like that post behind you,
Mhm.
beautiful, right? And that would be somebody's vision board, and it would have so much stuff on it. I'm going, what is all of that? Yeah, that would be me. And it was so cluttered on there. And as I started looking at them closer, I started realizing that, and this is my own interpretation. So if somebody else does something differently, we just do it differently. Doesn't mean anything's right or wrong. I'm just telling you what works for me. Your vision board has all these: the house, the car, the boat, the area where you want to live, the number of the dollars of what you want in the bank account. Those are all great and wonderful things to put up there. How you get there?
Mhm.
That was the magical part for me, and it still is today. So for me, the stickers are for when I do my vision board event in January every year. The stickers are for the audience. I could
Mm.
care less about a sticker. Okay. I could care less. I could handwrite what the goal is. The house, this square footage, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, upstairs, downstairs, over to the left in the back corner, in this amount of square footage is where the in-law house is. I can do all of that. I don't need pictures for that. I can even say, here's a legend. This room gonna be this color. This room gonna be this. I can do all of that. I don't need a sticker. But how do I get there? That is where the magic comes in for me.
Yeah.
Because to get to the house, the car, the family, the degree, whatever that is, you have to have a plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
The-
I'm sorry.
go ahead. You got to have a plan.
Yeah. And I am agreeing 100% with what you're sharing. And I just wanted to add a little piece of, my journey around, vision, because you know, I really had to get present, because I was that, once again, entrepreneur who would do the vision boards and, have the goals. But every year, you have these goals, you have the vision boards, but you just can't hit them goals. And you can't realize, or you're not realizing the vision, and you didn't know why, right? Like why you're not getting them. I did some work with one of my mentors, and one of the things that I had to get really present to is the why. Why? Going back to the alignment. Why are you even having these things on your vision board? Is it because, you're looking at other people's vision, going back to the definition of success, and that's what they have on their vision board, and that's what society says that the vision and should look like? And when I realized that, no, that's not what it's all about. Like, what is my why? Why? And so before any of that is going back to that Simon Sinek book, starting with the why, and you have your why. And then once you are able to unflush that, then the goals that you're making or you're setting make sense, because
Yeah.
sometimes we're creating goals and we're setting the goals and we have no idea why the goal is even a goal. It's not
Right.
ours, it's
Right.
somebody else's.
And
Okay.
that, Turiya, there's so much behind that. If we unpack that one thing, why are you doing this?
Mhm.
Unpack that. Are you doing this to please him, or please her, or please them, to satisfy or pacify them? How does that you're doing, whether it's a goal, it's an activity, how does that, what does that do for you?
Yeah.
So, listen, as always, I love our time together. I got one more question for you. In thinking about prosperity, what does it mean for you to attract prosperity versus chasing prosperity?
Oh, my goodness. You're using my language
Yeah,
because
that's that alignment we got going on.
definitely it's definitely all about the attraction. So that's one another thing that I got present to on this journey, just how much chasing we're doing. So we do a lot of chasing. Okay. Energy is dispersed all over the place because we're trying to put our hands here, there, and we're thinking that because we aren't doing all of the things that we're missing out on opportunities, when in fact is different. And so when you attract, you be what you want right now.
Mm,
You show up the way you want to be reflected and what you want to pull into right now. That's how you become the magnet. It's not about putting all these things, putting your hands in all these things. I had, once again, one of my mentors asked me this question: who are you required to become? And so, as you take a look at your levels that you are growing into, who are you becoming as the person, or who do you need to be to hold that part of which you desire? And then as you be, then you're attracting, you're pulling people, the right people, the divine ones into your space. So that's my answer of attracting versus chasing, because I gave up the chasing.
look, ain't nobody got time for that.
Uh, that's a whole lot of work that I'm no longer interested in.
Listen, I'm on the other side of 50. These knees say we have to reserve our running for certain things. Well, Red, thank you so much for being here and sharing with us. And I just want to remind the audience that prosperity is not something that you chase. It's definitely something that you choose. And this has been another episode of Prosperity Conversations. I am the Nicole Johnson. Till next time. Now